see you guys in the dark.
This story starts years ago. For reference, my ex-friend Kevin, who I have known going on 14 years, is about 6 foot tall, probably weighs about 220 pounds, and is known as what we call a neckbeard. For those who don't know what a neckbeard is, I will leave a link in the description for those who are interested. Kevin came back to my life a couple years ago after being married and doing God knows what. Met me and Michael, who is short, 5'4", 130 pounds soaking wet, downtown nearby my old house. He starts talking to us like him ignoring us for 8 years was no big deal. We hang out for a while before I find out he didn't have a home because his reasoning was his roommate stole from him, and he couldn't be around any of that. During this time, he smelled like he hadn't washed himself in about 2 months, with a smell of what can only be described as mayonnaise oozing from his skin. I offer him a couple nights at my house so he can take a shower and rest in something besides a park bench. As he stayed at my house, he had food and a small bed in my room. Only noticed him showering once every month or so, all the while leaving his dirty clothes on the floor, smelling up my room. Me, being the nice friend I was, washed his clothes, and every time I did, his clothing never smelled like anything besides algae and nasty unwashed body. As time went on, he ended up staying at another friend's house, Brandon. Brandon is about 5'6", probably about 190 pounds, with a full black beard. While staying at Brandon's house, I was told by Brandon and his now wife, Caitlin, who told me that they were tired of him because he only had one of 3 chores to do. And each day, one of the 3 chores was either wash dishes, take out the trash, or take a shower because he smelt up their apartment. They both told me on multiple occasions he didn't do anything besides sleep all day and run off at night until he was ready to come back. After finally kicking him out, he randomly stayed back at my house. Stupid, I know, because I couldn't let a friend of 14 years stay homeless. He told me through all of this that him and his ex-wife were still married, and they were trying to get back together. As he was so-called trying, he started staying at my ex's house, Kat. As he stayed there, he told me that they both were having sex while still going and seeing his wife. As time went on, I found out that he got Kat pregnant and met his now girlfriend Bonnie. Found out shortly after he moved Bonnie into Kat's house. After about a month or so, I found out Kat had got her unborn child aborted, and Kevin had no remorse about any of this. Found out from Kat that the abortion happened before Bonnie moved in. While all this happened, Kevin claimed he was with Bonnie while with Kat. As time went on, Kat had remorse, knowing Kevin most likely cheated on Bonnie with her. As Brandon, Michael, Nick, who happens to be another friend of ours, and myself all told Bonnie this, Bonnie looked distraught, but decided to stay with him anyways. Nick told me he wanted to beat Kevin's ass, and that he hated Kevin's guts. I told Nick it wasn't a good idea, and to let whatever happens, happen. As time went on, living with my mother, we couldn't pay the rent, so I asked Kat if she had a room for me, and I would help pay rent, seeing as how her mother and grandmother just died, and she needed help paying the rent. My YouTube was going great, and my mom offered to help for a little bit to pay some rent. I was told once Kevin left, I would get his room. This was about a year ago. Things seemed okay, besides the house smelling horribly because of the unwashed body smell from Kevin's room fumigating the house. To sleep in Kat's room, waiting for May to show up so I can get a room finally. As time got closer, Kevin kept saying his job was screwing him on pay, and he couldn't save up to leave. He begged Kat to stay longer because she owed him for helping with her mother and grandmother during her time of need. Kat gave in and let him stay until Christmas. So it was supposed to happen. As the days went on, I found out Kevin was constantly buying things off Amazon and blowing money on rent-to-own stuff like a surround sound system and gaming computer for $235 a month. Keep that but a few months. Later on, he brought in a few cats that him and Bonnie were supposed to take care of. Kevin refused to get them fixed, so all they did was go into heat and screech constantly. A month or so later, Bonnie begs Kat to let her mother stay over, and shortly after her brother. When her mother left, Bonnie's brother moved into the room I was supposed to get while asking to have his baby mama and her kids move in. After Kat told him okay, he didn't know when they would show up until suddenly they showed up at the doorstep. Here comes an older woman and 3 kids. Yep, 3 kids. Being piled into the tiniest room in the house. When I met my ex-girlfriend, I slept on the couch as to respect the relationship. Through all of this, I kept being woken up to kids running around the house and making noise, only getting 4 hours of sleep max a day. During all of this, Kevin and Bonnie's relationship was getting worse. Bonnie was bitching about him leaving bruises on her and how he wouldn't shower, and she had to wash his clothes daily to keep the smell out of her room. She comes to me when Kevin is gone, asking for advice, and tells me she is tired of his bullshit. How all he does is accuse her of having sex with everyone, even me and Michael, his 2 best friends. Michael happens to be asexual. As all this goes on, Bonnie later tells me his ex has sent evidence of Kevin masturbating to her on video chat, and how she can't wait until he leaves, because she won't go with him. Angel, his wife, told us that Kevin wanted to get back with her while being with Bonnie, and that he is still madly in love with her. She told us she hated his guts and wouldn't let him see his own kid because she doesn't trust him with the child, as well as telling us he has been this way even when they were together, except for he refused to get a job, so she had to pay all the bills, including his child support. Shortly after, Bonnie and I are in the kitchen while she tells me her and Kevin finally broke up, and he is trying to get her back. During all this, we are laughing and having a good time when I turn around and boom, an accidental kiss. We swore no one would know about it because it wasn't supposed to happen, even though she told me it was better than Kevin's ever could be. Kevin comes to the realization his and Bonnie's life together is doomed, and he starts drinking, claiming he didn't care and wanted to die. During all this, Kevin pins Kat to the floor and threatens her, saying he doesn't care anymore and he will kill her right in front of a 13-year-old child. Proceeds to drink more, and then he walks outside. Bonnie walks outside for a cigarette and finds Kevin on the floor, puking and choking on his vomit. She calls me outside to help him, and we all call an ambulance to take him to the ER. While he was gone, Bonnie claimed she didn't want him back, and she wanted him to stay for a few days because of him saying that he wanted to die. Kevin calls later that night to get picked up, and the next day has a sour attitude about things, telling everyone he didn't need to go to the hospital, that we should have left him there on the floor. The next day, Kevin and Bonnie bring in 4 kittens. Only one was supposed to be brought in for the 13-year-old's birthday, and told me a black kitten was mine. Cat has a fit because now we have 9 cats. The black cat didn't like me, and I was later told his wife took the cat because she somehow got hurt, sent her and one of her brothers away. As the cats stayed in the house, they started pissing on the floor, and my cats were being blamed even though they are older and use a litter box every time. So I took photos of their cats scratching stuff and defecating on the floor with nothing being done about it. Come Christmas, Kevin claims yet again that he needs more time and begs for her to wait until his income tax comes in. I think that he still owes child support like he did when he came back into my life. So here we are, waiting for income tax to come. Shortly before Kevin and Bonnie finally move out, I get told by Kevin Bonnie claims she sucked me off while Kat was gone and in her bedroom. Asked me who was lying, and I explained that I didn't have anything done to me by anyone this time, despite being single. Then Bonnie is asking me to tell him something that didn't happen. When all was said and done, so I didn't get into a fight over this, I slept back in Kat's room and didn't come out for 2 weeks. While finding out from Michael that Kevin pissed him off about accusing him of being with his girlfriend, even though they have been friends for 16 years now, and Kevin knows Michael to not want to be in a relationship, or be with a woman in general. Michael also told me he wants nothing to do with Kevin or Bonnie after all this, and Kevin was just a toxic human being, that he won't answer his phone calls or come hang out with me until Kevin moved out. In my isolation from everything, Bonnie's brother moves out without a word, leaving all of his stuff behind. Come to find out, Bonnie wanted them to stay so that they can get a place, because they couldn't afford rent without her brother, and that she told him he better be lucky they asked him to move in here, or he would be homeless. Kat later realized me and her were on the phone during my accusation of being sucked off by Bonnie, and brings proof I was on the phone during everything, texting and voice chatting her the whole time. Kevin doesn't believe the proof, and accuses me of more stuff that I didn't hear about. Moving day finally arrives, which I was forced to stay in Kat's room, or I would have snapped on everybody. They took over 2 days to move a room and a bathroom worth of stuff. Mind you, it was a small bathroom, and a very small room. I heard from Kat they tried to con her out of more time, that Kevin was so petty he almost said fuck it, and told Kat if he wanted to, he would just stay and make her get an eviction notice. When they finally left, they left trash cans and nasty used personal products everywhere, and the room they used, that's now my office, smelled so bad it took me 4 days to get the smell out of that room. That's after incense and tons of sanitizer wipes. I wiped down the walls and moved all my stuff in. Kat told me that day Kevin demanded why I get a room and office to myself, that he should be the one still in that room. After, we found out Kevin never got his income tax and didn't have a place to stay. Days have passed, and we hear rumors he borrowed money to move out of state just to find out that wasn't true, when he showed up at our doorstep demanding turkey they left here, and a bottle of Patron that has now been gone for weeks. He has demanded whoever ate the turkey that they owe him money in a week, and that he is pissed because now they want all that stuff so that they can cook it and eat it. Funny thing is, he didn't pay money for this turkey. His uncle gave it to him. So to me, it sounds like desperation because he never saved up any money for the nest egg to move out of Florida. Kat has recently told me that Kevin is now blaming me for no longer being in this house, and that I did something to his cat because now she is walking funny, and he is blaming me for all of that as well. Kat has also told me that Kevin hasn't paid rent in 3 months. His only bill was to pay the electric, which is normally under $400. It has gotten less because all the people have moved out. It got so bad that he was blaming the electric company for taking money out of his bank, but not showing it up on his bank statement. Kat had to sell her PS4 to a neighbor so that we could pay the electric. Now, since they are gone, I'm the one paying the electric, and I know the electric will be paid. After everything, Kat and me are fixing the house and trying to replace what their cats have destroyed, because they won't pay for damages to the carpet and her grandmother's old chair she loved before passing away. Lately, my friends have finally come over to hang out, and everything is fine. We have all talked, and no one wants anything to do with either, and hope they just leave and never come back. So Kevin, in just 2 years' time, you have burned bridges with Brandon, Michael, Kat, Nick, and me. We hope you finally leave state. And remember, don't come back here, because no one wants you around them ever again. You had the best friends anyone could ever ask for, and all you did was fuck everyone over. Have a good life, and try not to be the neckbeard that you are to others. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like, and hit the bell for notifications on future videos, and become a stalker of the night. And I'll see you next time.